Ronnie Coleman talks with Joe Rogan about his steroid use and other aspects of his life. Absolutely amazing. I have to touch on this video. Ronnie is the absolute king of bodybuilding, and he's the king of being a decent, true man. And he's so cool the way he sits there. Joe asks him questions, and Ronnie just responds like it's nothing else. He's telling it as it is. Number one, what I want to cover in this incredible response video is that Ronnie Coleman says he didn't use crazy amounts of steroids and esoteric steroids. He used the old-fashioned stuff, D-ball, testosterone, equipoise, basic stuff, maybe some growth hormone, and he didn't go overboard. He took steroids and he trained like a beast and he ate, and he's incredibly lucky with genetics and he didn't get hurt. Now, he got hurt in his back, and he obviously has a severe back injury, and he's partially paralyzed. He can barely walk around without crutches and in a wheelchair for part of the time. But the fact is, he talks about he was lucky. His genetics were incredible. It took him to that top level. He didn't use much steroids, and he says his heart, his liver, and his kidneys are healthy. And you know why I believe him? He's undergone so many surgeries in the last year and a half. When you go to surgery, you have to go for a pre-op clearance with a doc like me, an internal medicine doctor like me. They would never put him under anesthesia, not to mention the long surgeries he has had if he indeed had significant heart disease or kidney disease. So it's true, and I love to see it. Otherwise, Ronnie is a healthy man from that internal medicine perspective. So genetics, great genetics for that. There are guys who use a little bit of steroids, not much steroids, and they have kidney disease or heart disease. You see this, guys? There's so much genetic interplay. I want to bring that right up. He's lucky. He's also lucky that he says he was able to stop his steroid use and bounce right back and feel okay, versus other guys that stop steroids and crash and burn, withdrawal, and he talks about there were a lot of guys committing suicide. Now that was back then. There's still, unfortunately, severe depression after steroid use, and that's the anabolic steroid-induced hypogonadism. What else? He ends up on TRT. He mentions it, and he says, despite everything he did, he's on TRT today. Joe asked him, and he said, yep, I'm on testosterone replacement because of the steroids I used. I want to drive that point home. Ronnie's the truth. He's the king. He calls it as it is. He's on testosterone. And lastly, it's amazing that back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, I assume, what he's referring to, doctors prescribed steroids. Now, I don't think they prescribed some of these steroids, but they did provide some of the steroids. I know D-ball was prescribed, Anavar was prescribed, and testosterone was certainly is for replacement today. But it's amazing that doctors, out of the loop, they didn't mean to prescribe for muscle building to hurt people, but they did. And when they learned as a community that there are medical complications with the politics, it's been pulled out. And now it's fully in the underground, and that's why I'm here, to make you guys understand and believe that if you use steroids, you might not be as lucky as Ronnie to be 56 years old and to have heart health and kidney health. That's all luck. And he didn't use that much steroids. But it is a slippery slope, and Ronnie did tell the truth, and it's amazing. Ronnie, thank you for being honest and telling it as it is. Thank you so much.